Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that really messes with our idea of truth. A technology so powerful we had to invent a whole new word for it: deep fake. So let's just start with a question. One that sounds simple but is getting, well, incredibly complicated in our digital world. When you see something online, how do you actually know if it's real? You've probably seen those videos of Tom Cruise on TikTok, right? The ones where he's doing magic tricks. Or maybe you saw that viral clip of Barack Obama saying stuff he never actually said. Well, yep, those are deepfakes. And here's the thing. They've gone from being this kind of weird internet curiosity to a full-blown mainstream thing. And they are getting so much harder to spot. All right, so what exactly is a deepfake? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the tech behind it. You know, the name itself is a pretty big giveaway. It's a mashup of deep learning, which is a really advanced kind of AI, and, well, fake. So putting it simply, a deepfake is any kind of AI-made media, whether it's video, audio, you name it, that's designed to be so incredibly realistic you can barely tell it apart from the real deal. And these fakes, they usually fall into three main categories. First, you've got your classic face swap, literally putting one person's face onto someone else's body. Then there's lip syncing, where the AI changes the mouth movements to match a completely different audio track. But the Puppet Master one, wow, that's where it gets wild. You can have one person's expressions and movements drive another person's face, basically turning them into a digital puppet. Okay, but how on earth is this illusion even possible? Well, the answer is in this brilliant and kind of artistic AI concept. So the magic trick behind most deepfakes comes down to a technology that popped up back in 2014. It's called a generative adversarial network, or GAN for short. You can really think of it as the engine that's churning out these incredibly realistic fakes. Imagine a constant duel between two AIs. On one side, you have the generator. That's our forger. Its job is to create a fake. On the other side, you have the discriminator. That's our detective trying to spot the fake. Now, every single time the detective catches a forgery, the forger gets smarter. And every time the forger sneaks one by, the detective gets smarter. They're locked in this relentless cycle, pushing each other to get better and better until eventually the fakes are just nearly perfect. And the speed at which this tech has evolved is just breathtaking. Seriously. In just about 10 years, we've gone from the basic idea of GANs to these incredibly sophisticated models that can pump out almost flawless fakes. It's not a marathon, it's an all-out sprint. So it makes sense, right? As the fakes get better, the people trying to catch them have to get smarter. It's kicked off this non-stop technological arms race, creators on one side, detectors on the other. So to fight back, researchers are building a whole arsenal of tools. You've got AI detectors that are basically digital bloodhounds sniffing out the tiny artifacts left behind during the creation process. You have digital forensics experts looking for clues, like weird lighting or textures that just don't look right. But here's what I think is the coolest part. Some methods look for what's not there. They look for missing biological signals. You know, the subtle way our skin changes color with our heartbeat, or the imperfect way we blink. These are things that even the best AIs really struggle to fake. But here's the catch. There's no single silver bullet here. Every one of these detection methods has its own set of pros and cons. I mean, AI-based detection, super accurate, but often way too slow for a live video. Blockchain can prove an original is real, but good luck scaling that up. It's this constant, really complex balancing act. And this is the really crucial part. The detectors are pretty much always playing catch-up. An AI that you trained to spot last year's deepfakes, it might be totally blind to the techniques being used this year. And on top of that, they're vulnerable to what are called adversarial attacks. These are tiny, almost invisible changes made specifically to fool the detector. So all this tech talk leads us to the biggest question of all. Why does any of this matter? Well, because the consequences here go way, way beyond just some clever fakes you see online. The impact is deeply and, frankly, disturbingly human. A 2019 study by the firm Deeptrace found something staggering. 96% of the deepfakes they found online were non-consensual pornography. This tech has been weaponized for harassment, and it overwhelmingly targets women. So no, this is not just a tech problem, it's a massive societal problem. This technology really forces us to look in the mirror and ask some tough ethical questions. I mean, what does consent even mean when your face, your voice, can be stolen and used for anything? How are we supposed to protect ourselves from misinformation that's specifically designed to manipulate how we think? And maybe the biggest one of all, how do we hold on to a shared sense of reality when you can no longer trust what you see and hear? And listen, these are not just hypothetical problems for a philosophy class. They've led to very real consequences. That 2018 Reddit ban was a huge wake-up call for everyone. It showed just how big the problem of abuse was, and it forced social media platforms to finally start creating new rules. The art world is also pushing back hard. There was a landmark lawsuit in 2023 that basically challenged the entire foundation of how these AI models are built. The big question was, is scraping millions of copyrighted images off the internet without permission just a massive form of theft? Then you have the music industry. That viral track, Heart on My Sleeve, the one that sounded exactly like Drake and The Weeknd, it brought this whole debate to a fever pitch. Sure, it was a cool, creative trick, but it also raised a really fundamental question. Where do you draw the line between artistic freedom and just violating an artist's identity and their right to make a living? So, where does all this leave us? What does the future even look like in this new, super complicated reality? The challenges we're facing are just immense. We need detectors that can work in real time, on the fly, on those grainy, compressed videos we all scroll past on social media. We need AI that doesn't just say fake, but can actually explain why it's a fake. But honestly, the scariest challenge might be what some people call the authenticity problem. That's a world where a real video can be instantly dismissed as a deepfake, letting anyone deny something they actually said or did. Think about that. And that leaves us with one last and pretty unsettling thought. In a world where you literally can't believe your own eyes or ears anymore, what's left to believe in? When the digital world can create a perfect illusion of reality, how do we anchor ourselves to what's true? That's the question we're all going to have to start answering.